There are lots of ways to tie the snell. Is this the best way, or is there a better? Recently we tied a very simple snell knot, and in the comments a lot of people said, well, that's not the way I tie a snell knot. This week on the Tom Rowland podcast, brought to you by Danco, we are testing a different variation of the snell knot. Last week we did a very simple snell, tested it out, and this week we're going to do a different version of that, which is essentially a uni knot around the shank of the hook. We're going to tie that and test it coming up right now. There are a lot of different ways to do the snell. Last week we did a very simple snell, which many people commented that's the easiest way they've ever seen to do a snell. This week we're going to tie a uni knot basically around the shank of the hook. So you want to, when you're going to snell, especially with a circle hook, we're going to go through the front of the eye. So the front would be on the same size as the point of the hook, rather than going through the other direction. And the reason I do that is because when you go to set the hook, it will pull the point towards the fish's mouth rather than away from the fish's mouth. So it does give you a little bit of leverage there. And so the way we're going to do this is we put it through the eye, as I told you, and then I'm going to put my fingers around the eye of the hook, and I'm going to make a loop exactly like I would if I was going to tie a double uni knot around the standing line. So now I have the standing line coming through the eye of the hook, and I have a loop like I'm going to tie a uni knot around the shank of the hook. So now I'm going to pass this through the loop and around the shank of the hook. I'm going to do it 7 times. So that's 7 right there. Okay, so we've now formed the knot. We have the uni knot tied basically around the shank of the hook, and the way that many people will mess it up at this point is they'll let go, and these loops, especially with mono or fluorocarbon, will hop over the eye and be up on the line. You don't want that. So what I do is I change my fingers and I hold the loops with my, what is now my right hand, and I'm pulling the line with my left hand, the standing line, and I'm just holding the tag end with my right hand. And as I pull this slowly, these loops are going to start to form nice barrels, just like you would on any other uni knot. Then I hold the tag end with my right hand, and I'm pulling the standing line with my left. And as I do that, a snell forms, and it slides right up to the eye of the hook, just like that, and makes a beautiful snell. Okay? The difference between this snell and the one we tied last week is that the tag end is coming out the bottom, the bottom of the hook side, rather than the top towards the eye. Last time we wrapped around and then used the loop to pull the tag end back through and be right there. Okay, so now I snip that off, and you have a uni knot tied around the shank of the hook that goes through the eye and is a good snell. So this is what I call the uni knot snell. The other one I'm calling the simple snell. So if you go to get the knot guide, you can tell the difference between these knots, and you can see how they break. This is a uni knot snell. Now we're going to test them and see which one's better. So we tied the Uni Knot Snell this week and tested it with 15-pound Daiwa J Fluoro. And I also tested this line, and it tested just under 15 pounds. I think it tested out at 14.65 pounds, so slightly less than the label states on this, and that's where we based all the tests. I tied 3 Uni Knot Snells, broke each one of them, and they broke at 11.35, 10.73, and 10.53 for a 73.24% knot breaking strength. And you can go and see how that stacks up against all the other knots, including the simple snell that we tied last week. You go to TomRowlandPodcast.com, download the free knot guide, and you can see how all the knots stack up in their breaking strength. It's guaranteed to make you a better angler.